Okay, we're going to take a quick look at how you do color splash photography here in Photoshop. The first thing that we need to do in order to get color splash is turn this thing black and white first. Now there's lots of ways to do this in Photoshop, but there's a best way to do it if you're going to do color splash, and that is to use these adjustment masks over here. So you'll see this little batch of adjustments that you can do, and one of them, the black and the white one, is labeled black and white. When I click that on, you'll notice that a second layer appears in my document, which is this black and white adjustment layer that has what's called a mask already included on it. Before I get too much into that, we also have the properties panel should pop up here, which allows me to make certain adjustments on my black and white. I'm not going to worry too much about these. You can mess with them to get your image the way it wants, but that's just adjusting my black and white. So once I get my black and white the way I want, then now it's time to look at how I color splash. Now to understand how this color splash works, we have to kind of understand what a mask is. Right now, this layer, this black and white layer, is covering up my actual original picture and turning the whole thing black and white. Right now the mask is complete, meaning it's totally white, so the entire image is black and white. However, just like a mask in real life, if I was to paint holes into this layer, then I would be able to see through the holes and see what's underneath it, which would be a color photograph. So let's take a look at how we paint a hole. First, make sure that the actual mask part is selected. You can select multiple parts of these layers, so make sure that we're on that mask. And then using the B key, we will go to our brush tool, which is here, or the B key gets us there faster. Now, if I want to paint a hole, then I'm going to paint in black. So you can see I have the two colors here, white and black. If I push this little arrow key, the black will come to the top, or you should learn the shortcut of the X key. X will flip those back and forth. So with black on top now I'm able to paint a hole. And so I'll go ahead and paint over my daughter's shirt here, and you can see in my mask a little hole has appeared, which I can then see through that hole, and I can see the color photo underneath. So as I get here, you can see the color coming back in her yellow dress. We can also see the skin tones coming back as I painted there. So that's how you would do a color splash. Now there's a couple things to keep in mind here as you're working. Let's say I'm down here and I'm working away, and then I make a mistake and I start to paint in some of my shirt that's underneath. Well, it's as simple as pushing the X key, which will bring the white back, and painting back the part I don't want. So it's very non-destructive that way. I can be painting away, and then when I make a mistake, switch back to white and paint that back in. Again, wherever the mask is white, it'll be black and white. Whenever there's black on the mask, it's a hole so I can see through. The last thing to kind of mention is as you get up close to things like hair here at the top, if I'm wanting to paint that back in, the brush tool, if I control click, will bring up various options for that tool, including one that is hardness. Now you can see as I'm painting with this tool, go black, it's painting an exact circle. If I adjust the hardness, and let's say turn it all the way down, now when I click, it paints a very soft-edged brush. So when I'm doing stuff like around the hair, I want that kind of soft-edged brush to work around the hair. So I can draw her in. Again, the more you're zoomed in, the more detail and the better a job that you can do. And eventually, as you get to work, you will get this entire thing color splashed out. So that's how you do color splash photography in Photoshop.